Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folare. It's like we're just about almost out of the woods, but for the wrapping up of matters. And so here we are this morning. We thank God that we came through it. There are still, issues, many issues as a matter of fact that we can talk about. But the presidential election is over, and the governorship election is over. Talking also about the National Assembly and the State Houses of Assembly. Well, my guest this morning is Mojeed Jamiu. Mr. Jamiu is the executive editor, Upshot Media. Thank you very much for coming. You've been very, very busy because I know you've been, there are people like you who just keep their eyes very, very close to the ground when it comes to things like this. Thank you for coming on this morning, Mojeed.
It's a very, very busy month since February 25th.
That's right.
But at least we are pulling through. Mm-hmm. And one thing I'm happy about is that to the prophets of doom that believes that no elections will hold in Nigeria and that there will be crisis, I think we are here and we give all glory to God.
Exactly. But largely that was on social media, and it's a matter of being able to discern what is fantasy and what is actuality. That has always been the challenge, but our people were very, very close to the social media. Now, well, we have the results. Well, we have the big one, the presidential. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu of APC. He's been declared the winner in that. Yes, we still have a situation where he hasn't been congratulated yet by co-contestants, and we have to get to that stage. But it is what it is. Now,
you actually don't need a confirmation to affirm your victory. You don't need it. Normally, what should happen is when somebody wins, then you see Jonathan, which I still give kudos to today, and the likes of Kaudefai, in 2014, and Teslim Folari now in 2023, congratulating Sheyi Makinde.
Yeah.
I mean, you see, when you are well beaten and you understand that, yes, you fought this, and when you see the margin, I was looking at the Labour Party candidate yesterday, in Lagos State, saying that he won't congratulate Governor Sanwo-Olu. What was he expecting? Of course, we are going to get to that.
Yes. Well, we
are
will
going to
get to that.
It's like the momentum Labour Party had in the Southeast. Now, 3 states are in contest for governorship. That's Ebonyi, Abia, and Enugu State. Out of the 5 states in the other, the 2 are off cycle. That's Imo and Anambra. So out of the 5 states during the presidential election, the Labour Party had more than 90% in those 5 states. Now let's zero down to the 3 states where governorship elections are holding. Of course, House of Assembly election is holding in those 5 states. I'm just giving this as a scenario. Mm-hmm. If you had expected that Labour Party that won 12 constituencies, and I'm very careful in the choice of my words now. 12 constituencies does not actually mean 12 states in the presidential election, because Abuja is also considered as a presidential constituency, which Labour Party won. So Labour Party actually won 11 states plus Abuja, but because it's a federal election, it's counted as a constituency. So that's why you have 12, 12, 12 plus 1 by NMPP, so 37. Some people will be thinking, do we have 37 states? So we need to make some of these things clear. Now, back to where I started from. So in the Southeast, 5 states won clean and clear by the Labour Party in the presidential election. Now we are down to the governorship election. Mm-hmm. The only state that has been announced, Ebonyi State, taken by the APC. The 2 remaining, Enugu and Abia, it's down to the wires between Labour Party and PDP. you would have expected that the momentum which the Labour Party brought to the Southeast because of the Obi phenomenon would have translated to the victory, unassailable victory for the Labour Party in the governorship election. But then no two elections are similar.
Indeed.
So I think we need to understand that.
People kept on warning people who had been studying elections for a long time, and you also have to know the psyche of the Nigerian society, had been that these are totally different elections.
Yes.
And we also asked the question as a sort of a set piece question of would it be intelligent to extrapolate the results we got in the presidential for the governorship?
No.
And most people said no.
They said no. Because if you were to do that, a Teslim Folani would have, in fact, he wouldn't have needed to do any extra campaign in Oyo State because there was about 200,000 margin between Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his closest rival in Oyo, which was Atiku Abubakar, about 200,000. So Teslim would have thought, yes, with this, a moment drive for the governorship. So if Labour Party was thinking that what happened in the presidential election in Lagos State, where they had a 20,000 slim win, will also happen in the governorship election, of course, no.
But as it happened, Sanwo-Olu beat his closest opponent by more than twice the figures.
460,000 votes difference. Lagos, I think for our viewers, the presidential election in Lagos was APC 572,000, PDP 75,000. Of course, PDP is not in the race, even whether in presidential or governorship in Lagos. We are not going to be talking about PDP for the Lagos governorship race. I don't want to waste my time on that. So between APC and Labour Party. Now, 582,000 for Labour Party in Lagos. Of course, because of several factors. Now, come to governorship election, Saturday, March 18. But before then, the governor of Lagos State, people described him as an usher in the church, as somebody who is selling ice cream in ShopRite, as somebody who has turned to a market man. You see him every market. In fact, somebody brought a video of 2018 where he was being engaged by a 22-year-old lady, and the lady was telling Sanwo-Olu, so if you don't need this election now, if you don't need to win an election, will you be talking to me now? And Sanwo-Olu was trying to explain to the lady, and
no, that was quite.
No, they said he went to ShopRite, and I now found out about this ShopRite matter. Sanwo-Olu's ophthalmologist is in ShopRite. He has been going to ShopRite before now, but because it's an election period, would you say because his eye clinic is in ShopRite, he won't go to ShopRite? Now he went there. People said he came to ShopRite to sell ice cream so that the people they can like him. Yes, he sold the ice cream, but now he has won.
Because, and in any case, all those jocular scenarios, they really were an indication of how seriously Sanwo-Olu took the election and its campaigning.
And it has reflected in the results. So, for a Labour Party to be under any illusion or allusion, or maybe some people call it premature ejaculation, that you would defeat a Sanwo-Olu in Lagos, it's a no. A lot of factors are responsible for what happened. Now, those who went with Jide Adediran Jandor from Lagos for Lagos, from the APC to PDP, when they saw the result of that presidential election and they saw that it's just 75,000, they came back home, quote and unquote. They went back to APC. And for a body judge who would rather have the candidate of NRM or NCP or any other thing apart from APC in Lagos, because it's like somebody needs to sit Uncle Bodejo down and tell him that, come, this is reality. Tinubu has defeated you both in federal and in Lagos. So you should live with the reality of a Tinubu presidency and an APC governorship in Lagos, at least for the next 4 years.
And you know, the pension of our people for humor, they've reminded, you know, Chief Bode George that, in fact, there's even another video of a joke about him calling someone, say, Cameroon, yeah, you know.
I saw that caricature
you
of
know,
a cartoon.
But let me bring in Mr. George. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Mojeed.
Good morning, sir.
Uncle Yori, I think we now know that Lagos is not a no man's land. The owners of Lagos have spoken, and I hope it is loud and clear. Never, never again, Uncle Yori, I repeat, never again must the owners of Lagos allow a handshake to go beyond the elbow. A word is enough for the wise. Now, to other matters, Uncle Yori, let us move on. If Mr. Bode George, Chief Bode George, he wants to go to Ghana, I'm able to offer him accommodation there because I have some connections there. There is accommodation I can offer him. He said he will relocate to Ghana.
You are not being nice, Mr. George. You are not nice.
Mr. George, you know, in a political season, anything is said. And I think the humor studio by now would have been shut down because we're now in reality.
You know what shocked me most? I watched the candidate of the PDP, Jide Adediro, my friend, Jando, the owner of Core TV. I watched him on Wednesday on Arise Television. And he said by now, and I'm quoting him, he expected Chief Bode George to be calling from Accra, Ghana. But Ruben Abati quickly reminded him that, no, I don't think it's Accra that Uncle said he wanted to go there. I think he said Benin Republic.
It was Cotonou.
Cotonou. So he tried to correct that.
Ruben does that. Ruben does that from time to time. He will slip in a little with a straight face.
Yes. He said, no, Jide, no. Don't just make stuff. You see, we are in an era where, you see, I've lived with politicians, I've worked with them. I was a deputy chief of staff to a governor, so I know how these things work. So when people go on social media and talk and predict, I just look at them and I smile. My immediate elder brother just won his return ticket as into the Ekiti State House of Assembly.
Yeah.
Is the serving Deputy Speaker, Mojeed Jamiu. So, I deliberately did not go to Ekiti for this election. I stayed in Lagos to monitor things. And I see the way people will tell you a lot of things. And I know they will cook up things. The politician that knows that he cannot win more than his state. Kwankwaso said he's the next president of Nigeria, but then at least he's managed to retain Kano. 1 out of 37.
He took Kano.
Yes, he took Kano.
You know, when you said retain.
He has managed to take Kano. Yeah,
yes.
Fantastic. Good for him.
Good for him.
If you are eyeing 37 now, you get one in the pocket. Big one for that matter. Good for him. And this is an election that has taught Nigerians that it is no longer business as usual. If you do not perform, if you don't get your act together, APC just lost Samfara. This is a Samfara that used to be 90% APC. APC has lost Samfara to Dauda Lawal. Matawali has lost. So, election, you
can't take anything for
your
granted.
Votes are now counting. The Beavers is the game changer that INEC should receive kudos for. So, when some people who lost are now blaming INEC, and I wonder, what do you want INEC to do?
You know,
politicians could be funny.
Additionally, Mojeed, you said people say all sorts of things. Now, one of the things that is being said, people have different parties that they support. In Lagos, coming back to Lagos, for instance, Labour Party supporters will have you, understand that everything wasn't free and fair in Lagos.
That's my point.
Everything wasn't free and fair in Lagos.
But then
and
it is free and fair in Imo,
oh yes,
Anambra, Ebonyi, Abia, and Enugu, where their candidates recorded at an average of 90%. No other party scored the required 25% in any eastern state, but that is fair to them. When they returned, the EO, the electoral officer, the ad hoc officer in some polling units was the one that signed all the result sheets for all the parties, with Labour Party scoring as much as 200 votes and others scoring 000, and the same person signed the result sheet. Is on INEX IRF.
The allegations we heard in Lagos were intimidation, and making things difficult, and some in frustration said, okay, this is what you want. Okay, I'm not voting again. You look at the VGC incident, just one section of it. They were all, but I know you want to come back on that. Let me bring on Reverend Dominic. Good morning to you, Reverend Dominic in Alimosho.
Good morning, Yori. Good morning to your guests.
Indeed.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah. Yori, I want to say congratulations to the governor-elect or the incumbent governor. Congratulations to him.
He's at once the state. He bears those two titles. Yeah, he's sitting governor. He's also governor-elect.
Yes.
Your guest is like a journalist of international repeat. I couldn't vote on Saturday. If I vote on Saturday, I couldn't vote on Saturday. I don't know if I can hear you.
I can hear you.
Go ahead, please.
I couldn't vote on Saturday, Yori, with a bleeding in my heart. And if I vote on Saturday and the election is over, I will vote for APC because it's my motion. But I couldn't vote because somebody saw me and said, you're a Reverend Dominic, you're Igbo, and you cannot vote. You're in 21st century Nigeria. In 21st century Nigeria, you're trying to say you can't vote. And I stood my ground. Somebody called me and said, Reverend, please jump down home. Go back home so they don't hurt you. You're in 21st Nigeria. We're going to choose who we vote through our language. Do you know what they're doing me and Joy Bokwe? When I go home today, they call me enemy of Igbos. And you are journalists, you are there dancing. I had George. Let me tell you what is the accident of history. In England today, a Muslim is a mayor. In America, an Obama, who is a Muslim from Kenya, was a president. We call it his accident of history. When people settle down, democracy is about number. Democracy is about majority and the minority. What happened in Lagos yesterday breaks my heart and makes me to hide my head in shame. How can I do not vote because I'm from Igbo? Do you know the problem of Rwanda? It is ethnic profile. It will never happen again. And anybody that wishing this is not wishing Nigeria well. That I cannot vote because I'm Igbo. I have contributed everything in this state. I fought for Buhari and I fought for Ashwaju, but I can't vote on Saturday because I was an Igbo. It's a gap in my eyes.
So who were those? Who were those that obstructed you?
These boys came. We were online. They came with a crowbar, what they call with this small bus, and some of them ran away.
It's an unfortunate incident. Yes, thank you, Reverend Dominic, for calling in.
Intimidation of people on election day is akin to disenfranchising them,
really?
And disallowing them from performing their civic duty. It is condemnable. I mean, with all sense of responsibility, it is an act that is bad. But then, I don't think it is peculiar to Lagos alone. But then, 80% of the international observers and domestic observers that come to Nigeria sit down in Lagos. They stay in Lagos to monitor things. Fortunately, they can't go to Abuja because Abuja in this round of election is Abuja is excluded. Abuja does not have state constituencies.
No, it doesn't.
Or House of Assembly constituencies. No governorship election, no state assembly. It's only limited to presidential, which is one Senate and I think 6 House of Reps. So, to the other states, I mean, we've heard what happened in Rivers, in Delta. I was watching, not only peculiar to Lagos, but I'm not saying that that makes it right.
No,
but
it
then
doesn't.
it's something
doesn't.
that we need to really
know,
address.
in Lagos, Governor Sanwo-Olu, he was speaking against this. All these reports that we were hearing, that look, that is not what we are about in Lagos. But it's okay for some to talk about. There definitely were incidents. If social media is anything to go by, you saw people, doing their own selfies and putting it out there that this is the experience, and they felt that they were being prevented from exercising their free will.
Yeah. But the question is, would there have been a different outcome, even if those disturbances, those incidences didn't happen? The answer is no.
Okay.
There wouldn't have been a difference.
Okay, welcome back. And Mojeed Jamiu, Executive Editor, Upshot Media, is our guest. We've also had something of a scrape with Kennedy Iyere, convener, of an NGO who is in Abuja and,
Enugu.
I beg about Enugu. Something of a scrap because there's a way we do things here. We try to do things by the book. You can't make wild statements unless you are ready to substantiate all of the statements that you make. And we don't mean that as, it's just the right thing. It's the way it is. Otherwise, we just have to construct and comport ourselves with the way we speak so that we say things with evidence. There was a matter about somebody actually bringing in, our guest alleged that a high court judge had actually been used in a negative way. You can't say that. No,
it's. I mean, I find that.
You can't say that.
I find that kind of comment very funny, especially coming from somebody who operates in the civil society, and to cast aspersions on the kind of elections that happen in Lagos. You are not INEC. I mean, INEC is the agency that has been saddled with the coordination and the conduct of elections.
And I think he also seemed to have an issue with BVAS. And everybody is free to say what they want to say.
We don't have a perfect situation, but then yes. I will conclude on the Enugu matter by saying that the presidential election held, like I started, you do not expect the momentum that people took to the ballot on February 25 to repeat itself on March 18. These are two different elections. We have seen situations in Lagos where Labour Party won by about 9,000 margin in Lagos on February 25th, but there were three elections. The three Senate seats, 22 out of the 24 rep seats all went to APC, with Labour Party having won. I think one is inconclusive. So what does that tell you?
And when you look at Rivers, I think all of the local governments.
And now, let me tell you, give a scenario in Oyo State. I was talking about Oyo State the other time, but let me further break it down. On February 25th, the APC won with more than 200,000 margin, won all the three Senate seats, and I think 8 or 9 out of convincingly in the reps. But flip to almost a month later, March 18, Seyi Makinde, the incumbent, defeated Slim Folani by about 200,000 margin. As a matter of fact, I think Oyo is, 563,000 to 256, more than almost 290,000 margin. Now, look at the assembly. Out of the 34 assembly seats in Oyo, PDP has taken about 32. So, but compare that with what happened at the National Assembly elections. But if Teslim was quick to congratulate Seyi Makinde, and look at the margin with which Asiwaju won, and look at the margin with which Seyi Makinde also won. So these are two different elections, same parties having different results. So why is Lagos different? And some people will come and tell us that you will not accept the results of Lagos because you expect Labour Party to win just because it has a 9,000 margin. And people were saying on election day that, yes, they might not vote for Asiwaju in Lagos, but they will vote Sanwo-Olu because he is youth, he is that. And they were given a lot of reasons.
And it was a more local, even though they say all elections are local, but it was a much more local election.
Would you expect a Dangote to put his $30 billion refinery in the hands of a 40-year-old chap who is speaking MIT English? I mean, does it stop at that? Now, he would rather secure that facility under a Sanwo-Olu who has assisted him, who has helped him to talk to the CBN governor, to talk to the federal government, to talk to other investors, who has given him a conducive environment.
Yeah, and a man of vast experience.
You see, because if a new kid on the block comes into Lagos, I mean, Dangote won't know how to approach him. a Femi Otedola won't know how to approach him. A Rabiu Sabiu of Bua will not know how to approach him. But then they're already used to a Sanwo-Olu. They're already used to, I mean, they know who to call if things want to go south.
And if truth be told, any of the governors of Lagos,
yes,
even the past ones,
they
usually are people of, significant accomplishments.
Look at
significant connections before they come on.
In fact, people tell me that a Sanwo-Olu should not even go out and campaign. Now, what he has done is enough to campaign for him. But then I tell them, no, you guys are getting it wrong. I've been in politics enough to understand that it is not your achievement that earns you. People think of so many other things. And now, who are the people that vote more in Lagos? They are the downtrodden. And these are the people the Labour Party candidate and the PDP candidate want to send packing. Yes.
Yes.
And you think they will allow you to do that? I'm saying they now define democracy as the government by Agbero for Agbero and for by Agbero for Agbero.
No, I mean, those were emotionalism.
So I think
we can excuse.
Some people,
all sorts of things happen in a political
I think people should sit Rotsvival down and educate him that this is not the end of life. You have lost an election. You can sustain the momentum. You still have a chance in 2027. If you are aggrieved, yes, compile your documents, go to court. Of course, it showed something yesterday. Even if that polling unit is counted, we are talking of 762,000 to 312,000. That is a clear 450,000 difference. If you know how one vote matters, then you know that it is difficult to erase 450,000 votes.
And that is the truth of the matter.
Yeah.
I
should also say that some states have flipped. The ruling party, the ruling government has lost some states. APC lost in Kano. APC lost in Zamfara. APC has lost in Plateau. Although it also gained Benue, of course, Cross Rivers, quote and unquote, Ebonyi, significantly so, and Sokoto. And I saw Fayose doing a video to mock Tambuwa.
Okay.
On the loss of Sokoto.
We have a UK call. Ade in the UK has also called in. Good morning, Mr. Ade.
Good morning, Dr. Yori. Good morning, Jamiu.
Good morning, sir.
I only want to comment. We have seen the result of the election. First round is gone. But another one is coming. That will be selection, which means a lot of Bayelsa syndrome will happen. Remember Bayelsa? When the governor was about to be sworn in tomorrow, and they said, no, you are not the one. Expect a lot of Bayelsa syndrome, from presidency to governors. God bless you.
Okay. Well done, Mr. Ade. I knew, we take all, we take all kind of commentary. So when Mr. Ade came on, dispositions of people. That was not a surprising disposition at all. Thank you for it, nevertheless. It just...
I love talking in terms, in figures. I did some statistics in my undergraduate level as a student of Greek. We do a lot of statistics. Now, I want to take us to Ebonyi State and look at what happened on February 25 and what happened on March 18. In Ebonyi State, February 25 presidential election, APC got 42,000 votes, PDP 13,000, and Labour Party 259,000 votes. That's Ebonyi. Now, on Saturday, March 18, APC flipped 199,000 votes. PDP got 80,000 to come second. And APGA came third with 52,189. Labour Party, with a Peter Obi phenomenon and enthusiasm from 259,000, came down to less than 20,000 votes. That's Ebonyi. That's a southeastern state.
Exactly.
So if that happened in Ebonyi, how would you expect for Labour Party to sustain that slim momentum in Lagos? Because we need to break these things down and let people see things. If you move to Delta, Delta is close by in the south-south. On April 25, APC had 90,000 votes, PDP 161, Labour Party got 341,000 votes in Delta. On March 18, it flipped. Delta State, the governorship candidate of the PDP, the name is very long, Oboweri, I will stop at that, got 240,000 votes. Got 360,000 votes. Omoagege, Deputy Senate President, gave a very good fight, 240,000 votes, although he said he would challenge the result of the election. APGA got 11,000, more than Labour Party. And see, I want us to look at this scenario. And by the way,
that name, the name for Delta,
yes,
it's a long one.
I try to abbreviate.
Oboweri. But when he pronounces it himself, or anybody that speaks the language, it's a much simpler kind of a thing. Now, sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Adekunle in Ore. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Mojeed.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, please, there is something I want to quickly chip in. Because I am a security officer in this election. Let me just put it straight. There is something that played out that I noticed, but because there is no security breach, there was nothing anybody can do. I think some of the aggrieved parties, the aggrieved political parties, should also hold some of their agents, polling agents, responsible. And I'll tell you why. A scenario played out in one of the polling units. I don't want to mention the state. People are coming out to vote. And the other agents are there, and they are telling them where to some print. And they are going there to do their accreditation, and they will tell them where to some print. And they are going there straight to some print. You know what happened? After, I had to engage one of the agents and said, come, why did you allow this thing to happen? Because there is nothing we could do, because there has not been any security breach. Since both there is no report and no violence and nothing is happening. But there is something I noticed that I can see that some people are being persuaded to vote in a particular direction. He now said yes, that there are some political parties that paid the agents more than the other. And this is what I want some of the political parties to know. He said there is a political party that is giving his own agent 10,000. And one is giving another political agent 30,000. So the one that is giving 30,000 now bought over the one that took 10,000 naira and gave them their own 30,000 naira. And that was how elections in some of the polling units were compromised. So If some of the political agents.
But you say you couldn't bring this to the attention of anyone because there was no sort of organization for that. Is that what you're saying?
Hello, I can't hear you, please.
I said when you notice this anomaly, you couldn't bring it to anyone's attention because such a structure didn't exist. Did I understand you?
Exactly. There was no argument between them, no fight, nothing.
Okay.
No fight, nothing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adekunle.
It was after the election.
Okay.
Before I now engaged one of them, after the election has been concluded, before he now told me what he told me, and I cannot hold him responsible for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in from Ore. You know, we're hearing about all sorts. And one thing that we've noticed is that in spite of the best efforts of INEC, we're talking about the beavers here being a game changer and all of that, there still were people that were working right through the night. You know, they just weren't taking a break as to how to, you know, really still breach the sanctity of this election. And so that was going on.
Now, I'm happy he spoke about that. I wouldn't have said anything, but then because he raised the issue, I've been taking part actively in elections, I mean, as a stakeholder since 2007. And before the introduction of beavers, what normally happens, like what he said, the party agents of the two major political parties then, but now we have about 3 or 4, depending on the states, they will sit down. If there are 500 voters in a polling unit, INEC will issue 500 ballot papers. In actual fact, the highest percentage of those who come to vote on election day has never exceeded 35–40%. So if you have 500, which means you have maximum of 200 people coming to vote. So beavers, what will happen is the agents will decide, we can't return this, with the electoral officer, we can't return this remaining 300 ballot papers. So they will allocate to each other and they will thumbprint.
Can you imagine?
So the highest bidder takes the highest listing. So, and in a state where a ruling party is on the throne, the whole 300 might just go to the ruling party.
Let me quickly bring in Tunde in Ikorodu. He's our last caller. Good morning, Tunde.
Good morning, Mr. Ayori.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, quickly, please.
Yeah, Mr. Ayori, please, my contribution is people should think the election, this election Buhari that we are talking about, the aftermath now, I can directly say it will be caused a lot of damages with his rhetoric and campaign of a kind of sentimental campaign with religions, with ethnicity. It has never happened like this in the history of Nigeria before. It has never happened like this. Sanwo-Olu is a very good young man, performing very sharp, very, very massively well. I'm one of those people that do talking to people in my area that Sanwo-Olu don't need any campaign. If truly huge, and we Nigerians say, okay, we want somebody that is performing. If performance is the best way to elect our leader, why should we bring Daddy or what is he calling their name?
No need for any of that. But I hear what you're saying.
I don't know. Peter Obi and our religious leaders and our political leaders, they are the cause. This kind of a damage that is happening now after much of this election. It is because of their rhetoric, the way they campaign on religion, campaign on ethnicity.
All right.
No,
okay.
It's supposed to be like that. Our incoming president should work about that, and they should put a law to that.
Thank you very much, Tunde. Appreciate your call. Thank you very much for calling in. Mojeed, we started, it looks like we just started 5 minutes ago. Yeah. We've run out of time. But here we are. I have heard the Presidential Campaign Council say that in response to a lot of stuff that's going on, that the election has been won and lost. That is in place at the presidential level. Even here, ditto. But there still is the matter that there are procedures, there is structure for anybody who has a complaint to air those complaints. I think we just have to leave it like that. Yeah. There's much, much more that can be said, but we are limited by this 1 hour that we have. So I want to thank you very much for coming on, Mojeed. Did you have any closing one?
Yeah, like we have said here, it's an election cycle. People should just accept the results. If you don't want to accept, then you go to court.
There are procedures.
Then start planning for 2027. The Obi momentum should not be allowed to die now because it has changed a lot of narratives. Then INEC should perfect its acts in terms of logistics, in terms of distribution. But then kudos to INEC for introducing beavers. The days of a candidate polling 2 million votes are over, except in Kano.
Yes.
Except in Kano. That's the only state that has recorded 1 million by a candidate. The next is Lagos with 750 something. So the days of millions of votes are over.
We'll have to leave
because
it there,
it's
Mojeed.
human beings that are voting now, not dead voters.
Thank you very much. Mojeed Jamiu, Executive Editor, Upshot Media. And that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.